All right, everybody, I'm Lance. I'm here with Drake and Kaysen. Today we're going to be talking about the 2023 NCAA tournament. The round of 64 just got released on Sunday, so we're here to break down each and every matchup in each region. So first up, we're going to start with the South region. The South region is controlled by the number one seed Alabama, finishing the year 29-5, getting that automatic bid in the SEC tournament and finishing first in the regular season there. They're going to take on the 16 seed Texas A&M CC. They won the Southland tournament, getting that automatic bid. Drake, Alabama here. Is it going to be a close game, or they're just going to run through them?
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be a complete run through. Brandon Miller for Alabama, 6'9" freshman. He's averaging 19 points per game, 8 rebounds per game. He's had a great season so far, so I think he's definitely going to have a big point in this. Big role in this tournament, and reasoning for this win is they're 6th in the country in points per game, and they're 1st in the country in rebounds per game. So I think this will be an easy, nice little game to win and go into the second round.
Yeah. So the winner of that game is going to go on to take on the winner between the game of the 8 seed Maryland, finishing the year 21-12, the 5th in the regular season in the Big Ten, and lost to Indiana in the quarterfinals of that tournament. They'll be playing number 9 West Virginia, who finished 8th in the Big 12 regular season and lost to Kansas in their tournament. Drake, these 8 and 9 matchups are a toss-up, but who do you have in this one?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty good game, but I think West Virginia's the favorite, even though they're the lower seed. But I still have Maryland. Jameer Young for them, 6'1" guard, 16 points per game, going up against 6'4" guard Eric Stevenson for West Virginia, averaging 15 points per game. But you think about Maryland and West Virginia, they're the two best conferences in basketball. Maryland was 11-9 in that conference in the Big Ten, and West Virginia was 7-11 in the Big 12. So yeah, I got Maryland. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be a good game, but I have Maryland going to the second round.
Yeah. Then our next matchup is going to be the number 5 seed San Diego State, who got the automatic bid in the Mountain West, winning that regular season and the tournament champ. 27-6 overall on the year. They'll be taking on the number 12 seed Charleston with a great record of 31-3 in the Colonial Athletic League, winning that regular season and the tournament, getting that automatic bid. Drake, our 12 and our 5s, our 12s have been known to upset sometimes, but do you think that could happen here, or do you think San Diego State will run away with this game?
I think there's a possibility, but I have San Diego State just blowing out College of Charleston. I mean, I have no clue. I mean, I know where Charleston is, but, we've never really heard of that college before. It could be a major upset if that's the case, but Matt Badley, 6'4" guard for San Diego State, 12.9 points per game. So I just feel like San Diego just has the weight here to win, and I just feel like they're outmatched.
Yeah. So they're going to be taking on the winner between the number 4 seed Virginia, finishing 25-7 overall on the season, and getting second in the ACC regular season and second in the tournament, but they got that number 4 seed. And then they'll be taking on number 12 Furman, who finished 27-7 on the season and won the Southern Conference regular season and tournament champ, getting that automatic bid. Drake, a lot of people have been talking about Furman could upset here. Virginia have been prone to those upsets. We've learned that when they were the first ever 1 seed to lose in the first round. So, Drake, do you think another upset is bound to happen to Virginia, or how do you feel about this one?
So I know everybody's thinking, Furman could blow up an upset. Virginia not in the best conference in the ACC, getting stacked wins against those, but I just think Virginia is going to come up with this one. I feel like it's going to be another blowout. Everybody's thinking, it's going to be an upset, but I just think Virginia can control the game. Our man Franklin, a 6'4" guard, 12 points per game for U of V, and I just think that my reasoning behind this is Virginia is first in assist to turnover ratio. They're first in the turnovers by 20, so they're allowing very few turnovers. And then 3 players are averaging 10 points per game plus. So I think that Virginia will come up in this one to go into the second round.
Our next matchup is between number 6 Creighton, finishing 21-12 overall, and getting 3rd in the Big East regular season. They got that 6th seed. And then they're going to be playing number 11 North Carolina State, finishing 23-10 overall and 6th regular season in that ACC conference. Drake, thoughts on this game? This game is another toss-up. I think Creighton could surprise some people in this tournament later on. But first, they got to get through NC State. How do you feel about this one?
Yeah, I like this matchup. I feel like it's going to be a good game, but I have Creighton winning this. They're part of the Big East. A lot of those Big East games have been televised this year. I feel like that's probably one of the best leagues or the best conferences, in the tournament. So I got Creighton. They have Ryan Kalkbrenner. He's a 7'1" center, averaging 15 points per game, 6 rebounds per game. I just feel like there's been a lot of competition in the Big East, and I feel like they come up with this one.
Mm-hmm. They're going to go on to take the winner of the number 3 Baylor and number 14 UC Santa Barbara. Baylor finished 22-10 overall on the season, 4th in the regular season, and lost to Iowa State in the quarterfinals of their tournament. And they'll be taking UC Santa Barbara, who got the automatic bid in the Big West Conference and finished first in that regular season with an overall record of 27-7. Drake, Baylor won it all a couple of years ago. You think their first step here is to win this game? You think they'll be able to complete that?
Yeah, I definitely think they do. I feel like this is another outmatched game. Baylor has Keontae George, a 6'4" guard. I feel like there's been a lot of 6'4" guards that I've named. 15.8 points per game, but yeah, I just think they're completely outmatched for UCSB. So I think Baylor comes up with this one, go into the second round, and make a deep playoff run.
Our next matchup is between the number 7 seed Missouri and number 10 seed Utah State. Missouri they got a record of 24-9, finishing 4th in the SEC regular season, and lost to Alabama in their tournament. Alabama, a very strong team. And then Utah State, 26-8 overall, and we're second in that Mountain West Conference. Drake, you think Missouri can hold their big dog status here at that 7 seed, or Utah State shock them?
Yeah, I hadn't done a whole lot of research on this game just because I feel like it's going to probably be one of the most irrelevant games, because I feel like whoever wins this will probably lose in the second round to who we're going to name next, which is Arizona. But besides that, I feel like Missouri is just going to win this game. They've had harder competition. I just feel like that they can win against Utah State.
Yeah, you hinted at our next matchup is between number 2 Arizona and number 15 Princeton. Princeton in that Ivy League, not known for their basketball, more known for their academics. Drake, you said in our last matchup they're going to have to meet Arizona. You think Arizona's going to win this game, or how do you think that's going to go down?
Yeah, this is another one where they could be like, is Princeton going to upset? Is it going to be 15-2 upset? With the seeds? But I feel like if it was Yale instead of Princeton, I feel like they might have a shot. But I think Yale's better than Princeton. But since Princeton is in this tournament and not Yale, I have Arizona by a whole lot in this game. I feel like it's another outmatched. They're 6'11" forward, Azuolas Tubelis. I don't know. I'm not really sure how you pronounce that, but he's scoring 20 points per game, 9 rebounds per game. So yeah, I just feel like this is another outmatched lineup, and Arizona's going to try and make a deep run in this tournament as well.
Yeah. So that does it for our South region. I don't know about you, Drake, but I got Bama winning this region and going to the Final Four and representing the South there. But just some underdogs to look forward to is Creighton. They're not an underdog in their early game, but they could make a run late in that Elite Eight, in that maybe even that Final Four. And also Furman in the opening round. A lot of people think they could shock Virginia. So we're going to move on to our East region. We have a special guest here. We have Kason Williams joining us. He did a little research on the East region. So our East region is controlled by number 1 Purdue. Purdue, they sat at the top of the country. They had a couple bad losses there, but they did end up getting that number 1 seed in the automatic bid, finishing 15-5 in the Big Ten and 29-5 overall, and winning the Big Ten regular season and the tournament. They're going to go on to take the winner between Farley Dixon, 19-5 overall, got the automatic bid in the they got the automatic bid through some uncertain circumstances in their conference. Merrimack, who actually won the tournament, is still ineligible for the NCAA tournament through that transition period. So they got that automatic bid, even though they lost in their tournament, and they'll play Texas Southern 14-20 and won the SWAC tournament. That game doesn't really matter because Purdue's going to pull away with this one. Drake, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, I definitely think Purdue is gonna. I have Purdue in my bracket winning the whole thing, so I feel like they're just gonna kind of blow through. Zach Edey, probably National Player of the Year, 7'4" guard. He's averaging 22 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, second in the country, 2 blocks per game. I just feel like he's an absolute monster. You can't really guard him. When you try and double team him, their guards are always open to shoot threes. So, yeah, I definitely think Purdue is going to trail by anybody who wins the first 4, and I think they're going to make a really good Final Four tournament run.
Kaysen, how do you feel about this game?
Yeah, I like Purdue in this game. I think no matter who's going to win against Texas Southern or Farland Dickinson University, I think that Purdue's going to win by a large margin. However, I think Purdue is prone to get upset later in the tournament. I think that Memphis can put up a good fight if they manage to beat FAU in the next round. But, yeah, I got Purdue in this game by a large amount.
Yeah, so our next matchup, the winner of that game will go on to take on number 8 seed Memphis or number 9 seed Florida Atlantic. Memphis got that automatic bid winning the AAC tournament but finishing second there. They finished 26-8 overall and 13-5 in that conference, and that big win in the tournament over Houston secured their spot here at the 8 seed. And they're taking on number 9 Florida Atlantic, finishing with a great record of 31-3 and 18-2 overall in the USA Conference, winning that regular season and the tournament. This has potential to be one of the best opening games of this tournament. Drake and Kaysen, I don't know about you, but I'll be watching this game.
Yeah, it'll be a good game. FAU versus Memphis. Memphis actually beat number 1 Houston in the AAC championship, so I feel like this is gonna be a really good game. FAU is also 31-3, and they have the most bench points per game, so they're getting a lot more fresh feet, a lot more fresh players onto the court. No player has more than 30 minutes per game. So I feel like it's gonna be really, they're gonna have really fresh feet, but I also think that Memphis is a better team, and since beating number 1 Houston, they're on fire. So I feel like Memphis is gonna end up winning this game.
Yeah.
Kaysen, how do you feel about this game?
Yeah, I like Memphis in this game. However, I think Florida Atlantic can put up a good fight against Memphis. The only thing I don't like about Florida Atlantic is they have 0 wins against ranked opponents, and they really haven't played too much competition despite their 31-3 record. Memphis, however, is beating 4 ranked opponents and is 9-11 in the last 11 games, and they beat Houston in that conference championship. So I like Memphis. I think they're really hot right now. I think Memphis is going to pull away and advance to face Purdue in the next round.
So next up, we have maybe one of the most talked about upsets in this tournament, or possible upset. We have number 5 Duke getting that automatic bid in the ACC tournament and tied second in the regular season. Something to note too: there's 5 ACC teams in this tournament, and then they're 26-8 overall on the season and 14-6 in the ACC. And then they're going to go up against the number 12 seed Oral Roberts, who got the automatic bid in the Summit League, and they were also the regular season champs there, with a conference record of 18-0, running the table in the Summit League, and a 30-4 overall. Drake, Oral Roberts, they upset Ohio State a couple years ago at that 15 seed. You see another upset right now?
Yeah, that was a little heartbreak for me. I'm an OSU fan, and they were number 2 in the East region 2 years ago. Ended up losing in overtime to Oral Roberts, but yeah, Oral Roberts is 3rd scoring offense in the country. Again, they went 18-0 in the conference. You can argue that they didn't have any competition. Whether you want to or not. but they're third in 3-pointers per game. Max Abmas, he was huge in that Ohio State loss. Absolutely huge. He had, I think, like 30 points. He averages 22 points per game. He's a 6-foot guard. He's a senior. And they also got a nice little big with Connor Vanover. He's a 7'5" forward. He gets 7 rebounds per game, 3 blocks per game. So it'll be a good game. But I have Oral Roberts just because I feel like they've had good records in the regular season, and they've just came into the tournament and they've just upset anybody. So I got Oral Roberts.
Yeah. Kason, what are your thoughts on this this matchup?
Yeah, I think it's rightfully so that everyone's thinking Oral Roberts is going to upset Duke. But I think that if Oral Roberts would have played any other 5 seed besides Duke, they would have advanced to the round of 32. But since they're playing Duke, who's on a 9-game win streak, I think Duke they got hot at the right time, and I just think Duke's going to go pretty far in this tournament and beat Oral Roberts.
Yeah, Duke was the ACC champion. I forgot who they played in the ACC tournament, but yeah, they were the champions, and again running off that 9-game win streak. So it'll definitely be a good game.
Yeah. Then next up, we got the matchup between the 4th seed Tennessee Vols. They're tied 4th in the SEC. 8 teams in the SEC, but that are in the tournament. They finished with a conference record of 11-7 and an overall record of 23-10, and they're going to be playing Louisiana, 13th seed. They got the automatic bid in the Sun Belt League, but finished second in regular season in the Sun Belt League. But Tennessee, we saw them sit number 1 for less than a week or a week, and lose to Alabama, who is eventually maybe the best team in this tournament. So, Drake, what do you think about Tennessee? Are they a phony team, or are they legit?
Yeah, I don't think they were that good enough to get a 4 seed, but I think that they're just gonna trail through Louisiana this game. Santiago Vescovi, a 6'3" guard for them, is averaging 13 points per game. But yeah, I think this is gonna be like another irrelevant point in the first round. I got Tennessee winning this by a whole bunch.
Yeah, I agree with Drake. I just don't think Louisiana has played and competed with that top competition in order to hang with Tennessee. So, yeah, I got Tennessee in this game.
Yeah. So next up, we have another good matchup, another upset watch. We have number 6 Kentucky. They finished 12-6 in conference play in the SEC again, and 21-11 overall. They finished 3rd regular season in the SEC, which is another SEC is a big conference, 8 teams in there, like I mentioned. Something to note about Kentucky, they got cold. People were even questioning, would Kentucky be in this tournament? And then they got hot at the end of the season when it matters. So they got that 6th seed, and they're going to be playing number 11 seed Providence, who plays in a very tough Big East conference. They tied 4th in that conference. Another thing to mention, there's 5 Big East teams in this tournament. They finished 13-7 in the Big East and 21-11 overall. So, Drake, this is another matchup in this tournament or in this region that could result in an upset. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think this is probably going to be one of the most intriguing games of the first round. With Providence being part of the Big East, again, a whole lot of competition in that league, or that conference, excuse me. But yeah, Kentucky has definitely been overrated this year. Oscar Tshiebwe, the returning player of the year from last year. He's a 6'9" forward, averaging 16.5 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, which is the leading in the country, and then a steal per game and a block per game. But yeah, I think that if he has a really big presence in this game, I feel like they'll win. Jacob Toppin, also one of the top players for UK, Obi Toppin's brother. But yeah, I don't know. This again will be a really close game, but I got Kentucky winning this one.
Yeah, what about you, Kason? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really close game. I think Kentucky got hot at the right time. I think I got Providence in this game. I just feel like an upset is due, and Kentucky, I feel like, is the one to let Providence take advantage of their weak points in the starting five. So yeah.
For sure. Next matchup, we got number 3 Kansas State. They finished an overall 23-9 and 11-7 in the Big 12. They tied for 3rd in the Big 12, and they're going to be playing number 14 seed Montana State, who got the automatic bid, winning the Big Sky tournament and finishing 2nd in the regular season with a record of 25-9 overall and 15-3 in the conference. Drake, I've seen a couple talks saying, Montana State could attack this Kansas State team, saying Kansas State's a weak team as of recently, but I just don't see it. I think Kansas State will walk away with this one.
Yeah, I also got Kansas State winning this one. Keontae Johnson, a forward for them, 17.7 points per game. And then also guard Marquise Noel, averaging just about 17 points per game as well. So I think those two are going to have a big scoring game for Kansas State. And, yeah, I got Kansas State winning this game.
Yeah, I didn't do much research for this particular game. I don't see Montana State doing too much against Kansas State. So I feel like Kansas State is going to just beat them pretty heavily and move on to face the winner of Michigan State and USC.
Yeah, and as Kaysen mentioned, we had the next matchup, a number 7 Michigan State, finishing 19-12 overall and 11-8 in the Big Ten, and getting the third in the Big Ten. They'll be playing the number 10 seed USC, finishing 22-10 overall in the year and 14-6 in the Pac-12, tying 2nd in the Pac-12. A great conference. Drake, I think this game has been overlooked by many people. This game has potential to be a great game, and USC could pull off a win here.
Yeah, 7 seed versus 10 seed. One thing that we've learned in the past 20 years or so is never question Michigan State or Tom Izzo. Probably one of the best coaches in college basketball. So 2 of their players are averaging 14 points per game. USC has Boogie Ellis averaging 18 points per game, 6'3" guard. But yeah, this again will be probably one of the best games of the first round, but I got Michigan State. I feel like Tom Izzo and his team can rally up and make it to the second round.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very close game. I think USC is very I think USC is able to beat Michigan State and surprise them. I think they can surprise a lot of people. This game's getting really underlooked. And I think that USC will come out on top in this game. I think Michigan State, their margin in the points per game and points allowed is 2.8. So every game that they win is by only 3 points. And I think that their defense cuts it close a lot. So I think USC is able to pull out on this one.
Yeah. So then they'll be taking on the winner between number 2 Marquette. Marquette went 28-6 overall, 17-3 in the Big East. They won that Big East tournament and got the automatic bid, and then they sat at that number 2 seed. And then they're going to be playing the number 15 seed Vermont, 23-10 overall, 14-2 in the American East. They are the regular season champs there and the tourney champs, getting that automatic bid. Drake, Kaysen, I see Marquette, and they are in a very good Big East conference, like we mentioned. They ran that regular season and they ran that tournament, so Big East is going to run away with this game also.
Yeah, again another power of the Big East, but yeah, I got Marquette by a whole lot versus 15 Vermont. Cam Jones was their point guard, scoring 15 points per game. But yeah, if you're the best in the Big East, you're gonna go pretty far in this tournament. So I like Marquette.
Kaysen, how do you feel about this matchup?
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I just think that Marquette is just gonna run Vermont out of the bracket. I just don't think Vermont stands a chance. There's not much to talk about this game.
Yeah. So that does it for our East region. I say our East region winner it's a toss-up between Marquette or Purdue. It's whoever shows up and whoever stays healthy and is on fire. I see some underdogs that are on upset alert. Oral Roberts, Providence, Memphis. Even though Memphis is an 8 seed in their opening round, they could go on later in this region and they could surprise some people.
Yeah, so I feel like there's a lot more lot more upsets in the East region than I think there will be in the South. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, thank you, Kaysen, for doing some research on the East region and joining us. So we appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So next up, Drake, we have the West region. The West region, number 1, Kansas. They're gonna be pretty much well run in this region. You know, we have Kansas. You know, they're 27-7 overall, 13-5 in the Big 12. They're regular season champs, but they did lose to Texas in the tournament. They're going to be playing number 16 Howard, who got the automatic bid in the Mid-Eastern American Conference. They won that regular season and the tournament. So they're 22-12 on the year and 11-3. Drake, you always see these 1-16s. It's only happened once in history. Kansas got to win this game for sure.
yeah, but I also want to talk about the Big 12 tournament championship. Kansas didn't just lose to Texas; they got swamped by Texas. You know, I'm not really sure what happened between Kansas and Texas, but yeah, Texas completely ran away in that game. But yeah, give me Kansas. They're playing Howard. Grady Dick, 6'6", point guard, averaging around like 14 to 15 points per game. He's an NBA favorite to go in the draft next year. So yeah, I got Kansas by a whole lot also in this game.
Yeah, so the winner of that game is going to take on the winner between the number 8 seed Arkansas, who tied 7th in the SEC, which, you know, like I mentioned, SEC, 8 teams in this tournament. And they're 20-13 overall in the year and 11-9 in the SEC. Or 20-13 overall and 8-10 in the SEC. Sorry, that's a correction. They're going to be playing number 9 Illinois, who tied 4th in the Big Ten, another big conference, 8 teams as well. 20-12 overall and 11-9. Drake, this game, a toss-up here. You know, both teams very good, playing in very good conferences, but I got Arkansas winning this game. How about you?
Yeah, I also have Arkansas winning this one. Ricky Council, the fourth, guard from Arkansas, averaging 16 points per game. But yeah, I like Arkansas in this. I feel like Illinois just wasn't as good as they were 2 years ago when they were either number 2 or number 1 seed in the tournament a few years ago. But yeah, I got Arkansas.
Yeah. So next up, we have the matchup between the 5 seed St. Mary's, and they finished 26-7 overall, 14-12 in the West Coast Conference, second regular season behind Gonzaga. Then they'll be playing the number 12 VCU, who they got the automatic bid, winning the Atlantic 10 tournament over our Dayton Flyers, and they were the regular season champs there, 26-7 overall and 15-3 in Atlantic 10 play. Drake, VCU, being from Dayton, we've watched them play this year. They're a good team. They could surprise St. Mary's, who hasn't had to play any talent really in the West Coast Conference. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, VCU is not a team to mess with. If we've learned from anything, they're a lot better than a 12th seed. So St. Mary's, Pacific West Conference. There just isn't a whole lot of competition. You see Gonzaga every year going super deep. Having pulling up great stats, but who are they playing in the regular season is the question. So I just feel like VCU with the A10 having a little bit more competition. I got VCU winning this one for the upset.
Yeah. Then they'll be playing the winner between UConn, who's 21-11, and also another thing to mention, they're in that Big East. We've talked about it. Big East, a great conference this year, finishing 13-7 in that conference. They'll be playing Iona, who got the automatic bid in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, and they were the regular season champs there, finishing with a record of 27-7 overall and 17-3 in their conference. Another thing to mention, Drake, UConn, they were like Tennessee. They're sitting at that 4th seed. They were up at number 1 in the country for a couple weeks, and they're back down. So I wrote down they're cold. They're cold right now. So not a lot of people have Iona, winning this, but it could be a surprise. It could be a shock that Iona could potentially win this game, but I got UConn winning it.
Yeah, I think UConn escapes, but I feel like it's going to be a lot closer game than we expect. But yeah, They have been cold, but yeah, I just feel like with the 13 seed, I don't think Iona can stop UConn to go to the second round.
Yeah. So then next up we got TCU, the 6th seed, 21-12 overall, and 9-9 in the Big 12, tied 4th in the Big 12. And they'll be playing the winner between the first 4 matchup of Arizona State, 22-12 overall, and 11-9 in the Pac-12. And number 11 Nevada, 22-10 overall, and 12-6 in the Mountain West. Drake, these first 4 matchups are 11 seeds. You know, we have two 16 seed games and 2 11 seed games. These games are a little more important. These 11 seeds, they can make a run, and I like Arizona State in that first 4 game, and they could give TCU a run for their money. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, but I don't know. I just don't think that the teams that are playing in the first 4, I feel like aren't that strong. I just feel like TCU comes around with it, but I don't think they go past the second round. But I think they win this one. TCU is number 1 in the country in fast break points, so I feel like if they move with a fast pace, I feel like they'll be able to go to the second round.
Yeah. So the winner between that game will take on number 3 Gonzaga, 28-5 overall, 14-2, and they were the West Coast Tournament champions and regular season champs. I said a thing to note here is that it's a weak conference. We hit on that with St. Mary's. It's a weak conference. They 14-2 in that conference. Gonzaga will be taking on number 14 seed Grand Canyon University, 24-11 overall, 11-7 in the Western Athletic Conference. Thing to mention here is that Grand Canyon University, they're hot right now. They were tied for 4th in the Western Athletic Conference regular season, but they came from a low seed in their tournament to win that tournament. So, but you know, like I've mentioned before, the 14 seeds and the 3 seeds, those games aren't usually close. I think Gonzaga will pull this one out.
Yeah, I also have Gonzaga. Even though they're the weak competition they face in the regular season, they're impressive. They're an impressive team. They're number 1 in the country in points per game. They score 87.5 points per game. Drew Time, senior, probably one of the best players in college basketball the past few years. He's a 6'10" forward. He's averaging 10 almost 21 points per game. 7.5 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, and yeah, I have Gonzaga in this one. I just think they'll run away with it going into the second round.
Yeah. Then our next matchup is number 7 Northwestern. Northwestern in that Big Ten conference, and emphasis on that big 8 teams, like I mentioned in this tournament, and they tied 2nd in that big conference with Purdue being up there, 21-11 overall and 12-8 in the Big Ten. They'll be playing the number 10 seed Boise State. They tied 2nd in the Mountain West with an overall record of 24-9 and a conference record of 13-5. Drake, you know, our 7 and 10 seed games, they're usually close. We can see an upset of that 10 seed happening, but I just don't see it here. Northwestern will pull away with the win here.
Yeah, I also have Northwestern in this one. They were actually the second best team in the Big Ten going into the tournament, going into that conference tournament. So, yeah, I feel like this will be. I mean, none of the games here are boring, but I feel like this will be another irrelevant game in this region. So, yeah, I got Northwestern.
Yeah. Then they'll be taking on the winner between number 2 seed UCLA. They're 29-5 overall and 18-2 in the Pac-12. They won that Pac-12 regular season title, but lost in the tournament, and they were unable to get that automatic bid, but still sat at that number 2 seed. They'll be playing number 15 UNC Asheville, who got the automatic bid in the Big South, winning the regular season and the tournament. They're 27-7 overall and 16-2. Drake, this is a no-brainer. UCLA wins this game.
Yeah, UCLA is my favorite to reach the national championship. So, yeah, I got them by a whole lot.
Yeah. So, not much to talk about there in that game, and that brings us to the end of our West region. You know, I think our region winner here would be Kansas. I got Kansas winning it all in my bracket. But some underdogs to look after are VCU and potentially Iona against UConn. Correction. So this will be a good region, but not one of our better regions. So our last region we need to hit on is the Midwest region. We have our number 1 seed Houston, 31-3 overall. AAC regular season champions. Second in the tournament, they took that loss to that 8 seed Memphis. Then they'll be playing number 16 Northern Kentucky, 22-12, and they tied the Horizon League second in the regular season, but were able to come back and get the automatic bid in the tournament. Drake, no-brainer here. Houston wins this game, and by a large margin, 30 maybe.
Yeah, they are second in opponent points per game with 56. With the 16th seed and the Horizon League, I don't have NKU winning this game at all. Marcus Sasser, 6'2" guard, scoring 17 points per game. I just feel like this is going to be an absolute blowout.
Yeah, something to mention here if you're into the sports betting side of it. Houston right now, they're sitting at a 20-point favorite in this game. So that's a big margin. So that game's a no-brainer. Houston's going to win that game. Then they're going to play the winner between Iowa and Auburn. Iowa finishing 19-13 in that Big Ten or 19-13 overall and 11-9 in that Big Ten conference, tied fourth in the Big Ten. And they're going to be playing the 9 seed Auburn, 20-12 overall, 10-8 in the SEC in fifth regular season. Drake, this could be a tough game. You know, it's a toss-up between either team, but I think Iowa could pull away with a win here.
Yeah, I also have Iowa. Iowa's been playing pretty good this season with Chris Murray. Chris Murray's been playing absolutely insane, out of his mind. But yeah, Auburn, number nine seed, hasn't been playing as good as they were last year with Jabari Smith. But yeah, I got Iowa winning this one.
Yeah. Next up, we have the matchup between number 5 Miami and number 12 Drake. What do you think about this game, Drake?
Well, this college is my name, so it's not like it's like I'd want Drake to win, but I have Miami winning this one. They're the 5th seed. I believe they played in the championship for the ACC tournament. If not, it was the semifinal game against Duke. But yeah, I have Miami for this game.
Yeah. So they're going to play the winner between number 4 Indiana and 22-11 overall and 12-8 in that Big Ten Conference second regular season. They're going to be going up against number 12 Kent State. Kent State got the automatic bid in the MAC, 28-6 overall on the year and 15-3 in the MAC. There's been a lot of talks that Kent State's a hot team. They could pull off a win here against Indiana. Drake, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, people are trying to hype up Kent State, but I just feel like Trace Jackson Davis, the forward for Indiana, is gonna be too much for him. I got Indiana winning this game. But yeah, Jackson Davis is scoring 20.8 points per game, almost 11 rebounds per game. So yeah, I got Indiana winning this one big.
Yeah. So we'll move on to our next game. We got Iowa State at that 6th seed, 19-13 overall. And 9-9 in the Big 12, tied 4th in the Big 12. They're going to be taking on the first 4 winner between number 11 Pitt, 12-11 overall, and 14-6 in the ACC, tied 2nd in the ACC. Then they'll be playing number 11 Mississippi State, 21-12 in the overall, and 8-10 in the SEC. Drake, this seeding here, I think it's a little I don't know, not unfair, but I think it's wrong. Iowa State, they should not be a 6 seed. They should be lower. They should be an 8 or a 9. And Pitt and Mississippi State, they're both good teams, and I don't think they should have to play in the first 4. But one of them will play one of them will move on. I think that'll be Mississippi State. And I think Mississippi State could go on to beat Iowa State. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I also have that. I feel like it'll be a better game in the first 4 with Mississippi State and Pitt than it will be with Iowa State and Mississippi State or Pitt if they win. But yeah, I like Mississippi State winning the first 4 and going to the second round.
Yeah. So they're going to go on to take the winner between number 3 Xavier, 25-9 overall, and 15-5 in that Big East. They were second regular season and lost in the tournament finals to Marquette, the number 2 seed. And they're going to play number 14, Kennesaw State, who got the automatic bid in the Atlantic Sun Conference and finished the first in the regular season there, 26-8 and 15-3 in conference play. Drake, I got Xavier winning this game and Xavier winning multiple games after that. I got them even going to my Final Four. So, Drake, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I got them going to the Elite Eight, but yeah, Xavier playing Kennesaw State. 4 players are averaging 14 points per game or more. Sully Bolcom, I think his name is, 16.5 points per game, and Colby Jones, 15 points per game. So yeah, I got Xavier by a whole lot also in this game.
Yeah. Our next matchup is going to be number 7 Texas A&M, 25-9 on the year overall, and 15-3 in the SEC play. They were second in the SEC, and I think something to mention here is they got cold at the end of the year. They were hot in the middle there, and they got cold when it mattered. So they're going to be playing number 10 Penn State, who's 22-13 overall and 10-10 in the Big Ten play. They tied 5th in the regular season. But something to mention here, they're hot right now. They are hot. Lost in the finals to Purdue in a good game. So, Drake, I think Penn State could pull this win out potentially.
Yeah, if anything, I feel like Penn State should be 7, Texas A&M should be 10. Yeah, I got Penn State winning this one. Jalen Pickett, guard for Penn State, 18.8 points per game, 7 assists and rebounds per game. So, yeah, I got Penn State winning this one.
Yeah. So our last matchup here in this Midwest region, number 2 Texas, 26-8 overall, 12-6 in Big 12 play. They won that tournament in Big 12, beating Kansas like we mentioned. Not only beating them, destroying Kansas in that final. They got the automatic bid to play the other automatic bid, number 15 Colgate, who won the Patriot League regular season and the tournament. 26-8 overall and 17-1. People talk about this could be the 15 seed to win it, but Texas hot right now, coming off a confident win over Kansas. They're gonna win this game pretty handily.
Yeah, the Big 12 champion. I got Texas winning by a whole lot in this one, but I mean it could possibly be an upset with Colgate, but I just feel like Texas is definitely going to power through in this one and win it.
Yeah. So that does it for our Midwest region. Our region winner is going to be, I think it could be Xavier here. Our underdogs could be Mississippi State, Texas A&M, and Penn State. So we'll be back to talk about the round of 32 and then the rest of our tournament. Thank you, Drake, and thank you, Kason, for joining us today. That'll be all, folks.